Tambuwal exposes how Senate approved Rivers emergency rule without getting required two-thirds majority. Welcome to CNOC Media. If you are watching our channel for the first time, kindly subscribe, hit the like button, comment and share our videos. Also put on your notification button to get our updates. The last seems not to have been heard about what transpired on the floor of the Senate during last week's emergency rule vote. The former governor of Sokoto State, Senator Aminu Waziri Tambuwal, has insisted that the Senate failed to meet the constitutional two-thirds majority required to approve President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's proclamation of a state of emergency in Rivers State. The Senate, in a closed session last Thursday, deliberated on the president's proclamation and later approved it during plenary through a voice vote. However, Tambuwal, who represents Sokoto South in the 10th Senate, argued that the necessary two-thirds majority, 73 out of 109 senators, was not met, thereby violating Section 305 of the 1999 Constitution as amended. Well, what is the usefulness of this information now? Having proclaimed to the world that the Senate validated the president's proclamation, what does Aminu Waziri Tambuwal want us now to do with this information? What are we going to do with it? Are we going to say, okay, the emergency rule was not passed, so as such, what will now happen? It is not clear yet what he wants us to do with it. Or is it for our information only? Back to the news. Section 305 of the Constitution is very clear and unambiguous on how a state of emergency should be declared and the legislative process required, Tambuwal told Sunday Sun. According to him, the Constitution mandates that at least two-thirds of the Senate or the House of Representatives must approve such a resolution. I observed that there were not enough senators present to meet the constitutional requirement. From what I saw, there was no such number on the floor on that day, he said. From what he saw, is it by perception or by counting? Because matters like this are very serious. So if you are using your eyes to count the people you saw, or you did an actual counting, which one are we to take? Because it is possible you did not see well. Abi, not be so it can look like now. You perceived the number on the floor on that day was not much. Did you count them? Tambuwal further criticized the National Assembly for failing to follow past precedents, citing previous emergency declarations under Presidents Olusegun Obasanjo and Goodluck Jonathan, which adhered strictly to constitutional requirements. What stops the current National Assembly from making reference to its own precedents that are in its records? I can't understand that, he remarked. His statement raises questions about the legitimacy of the Senate's approval and whether due process was followed in proclaiming a state of emergency in Rivers State. Like Simon Kolawole said in one of his pieces, it is all politics. Tambuwal is bringing out this information. Now, what does he want us to do with it? Why did he not that day stand up to say this number is not up to the number that will form a quorum? And we cannot use a voice vote. There's a precedent. It was not reported that you did any of this and you were shouted down. So what is the usefulness of your coming to tell us? This has left open his comments to divergent interpretation. Some persons are of the view that they are not surprised because it was equally reported, allegedly, that the sums of $10,000 and $5,000 respectively were given 2 days before the votes were taken. You know, somebody has said it's not enough for Tambuwal to come and cry to us. Let him take the Senate to court. Like the person said, you have done well by letting Nigerians know. The next step is to take action to correct this illegality. A lot of persons will blame the Senate president and also the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. But doesn't the Senate or a senator has anything to do to challenge such infractions? I'm sure there must be somewhere in the Senate rule books where a senator can take up these matters. So if Tambuwal is sure of what he is saying, then let him take the Senate to court, unless he's playing politics. Because there is this grand swell of politicians of the northern extraction who are agitating that power must return to the north in the next election cycle. So is he, pandering to the whims of what most northern, politicians are agitating for? Is that why he's trying to denigrate a process that took place on the floor of the Senate? So for us to, believe what Tambuwal is saying, it is within his right as an insider to take the Senate leadership to court and let him prove, since the onus lies on him to prove, let him prove that through third majority were not obtained on the day the votes were taken. And I'm sure if that is done, it would be great for our democracy.